We're the Get Right Band, and we're here on A-Sides. I'm Jesse, and I play the bass.
I'm Silas, I play guitar and sing.
I'm JC, I play the drums.
That sounded so awesome. I wish that we were like doing that on the beach or something.
Yeah.
As opposed to a classroom.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. I mean, you had your, the flip-flops came off.
Yes.
And instead I have you like locked in the dungeon.
That's alright.
We like it here.
It's a beach in our minds.
It is. We could have done the green screen.
That's true.
And then I could have like superimposed like, because I have the technology by the way, like the surfing and the whole kind of, or like, I don't know. Like
yeah.
Caribbean vibe or something.
Yeah. Spicoli maybe behind us.
Right? Let's do that.
Alright, reshoot it all.
Talk to me about the new record, because it's awesome, and I love your sound, and I love that there's no genre that anyone can throw you into, which I always love, because the way that music is today, you can do that.
Yeah.
So, how long did the record take? And on another note, how long have you been like living with these songs? Because I know a lot of times, by the time you're recording, you've had these songs in the can for a while. How's that for a run-on question?
That's great. It's a great question.
Yeah.
And the actual studio process took, I would say, about 3 months, right? It was like a 3-month studio situation.
Sounds about right.
In and out of the studio. But the songs were definitely road tested. There's a handful of songs that didn't quite make the cut from the previous album, and then several newer songs that are on the album, and then a tune that we never play live. So it's a pretty good mixture of tunes, and like I said, we try to road test them as much as possible, and they'll change and morph over time depending on how the audience reacts to them, how we react to them. And so years go into preparation in general, I would say.
Yeah, for some of the songs, definitely. Yeah, we like to evolve them even after the record is finished. If we ever feel inspired to take it in a different direction, or if we ever feel uninspired about playing a song, after you've done it so many times, then we'll rework it and we'll figure out some way to do it that feels fresh. And so it's kind of an ever-evolving process, and the album kind of takes a snapshot, just somewhere in the middle of that process for us.
When you guys started out, did you have this kind of eclectic sound, or were you kind of leaning toward one, area?
It was
just curious.
It was pretty eclectic.
Yeah.
Very eclectic. I would say we're maybe slightly more reggae than we were at the onset, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty eclectic, and it changes night to night. But that was, part of the goal. Jesse and I grew up together playing music, and a lot of the bands we've been in together have been not real chained by genre, and that was one of the things we talked about when we started this band, was not being confined by genre, but also not being really confined by anything in particular. Not writing songs because we think they're going to sell, or not writing songs because we think they're going to be artsy or whatever, but just really being able to follow the muse and just do kind of whatever inspires us, but always putting a heavy work ethic and trying to quality control everything.
It's so cliche to ask this because
Please do.
No, I mean everyone asks this, like, who are your influences? But like, I have to ask because you guys are all over the map. So I'm assuming the inspirations are the same deal. Like, I mean, it's like Bob Marley and Right Said Fred, and no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the first one.
What?
You lost me there.
No, but I'm assuming it's across the board, right?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I mean, my parents were big into Zeppelin and Bob Marley and Miles Davis and Bonnie Raitt, and they exposed me to a lot of stuff. Sabbath, some heavier stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think all of us enjoy all different styles of music, and I know I got into jazz fusion for a while. I know Jesse was into that. Yeah.
I find it like such a silly question because like I would think that in your subconscious are all these, musicians that you grew up on that are just somewhere embedded in your brain, and when you're making the music, it's like it's such a silly question because it's really just asking you like who you listen to. It's not so much like, oh, I aspired to be Bob Marley, so that's why.
But there are I think different artists that inspire us in certain specific ways. Like you bring up Bob Marley. For me, one of the biggest influences or inspirations that he has on me is when you watch his live stuff, and you can see that he's on another planet. I mean, he's gone, and I think that's actually a surprisingly difficult thing, I think, to attain, to be completely present in the music and in the moment. And that's, you know, a major goal of all of ours and something, you know, we work on. But, you know, and then say a band like Zeppelin is really influential from, you know, sort of a songwriting standpoint. And, you know, so there's all these different bands. But I grew up on a lot of the classics like Zeppelin and the Beatles and Hendrix and Pink Floyd. And I still love a lot of that stuff, as well as a lot of newer stuff. I listen to a lot of hip hop, which doesn't so much make it into our music. But, you know, there's just so much good music. We're kind of listening to everything.
Cool. Talk to me, because you guys are always on the road. So live shows, I mean, do you find yourself lost in the music a lot of times? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Bob Marley was obviously heavily on drugs, but however, you could tell how, like you were saying, just how he was into the music. Do you guys ever get lost when you're on stage? And then the other question is, like, what are your audiences like?
Yeah. Yes. Is the answer.
I'm grilling you. I am grilling you guys.
We get lost.
We get lost.
I am Barbara Walters,
you know,
right now.
No, it's cool. We play such a huge variety of types of shows.
Yeah.
And when we travel, you know, we're getting different kinds of crowds at different venues, and we're getting different quality venues and different quality, you know, sound and everything. But on a good night with good sound at a nice venue with a good crowd, it's very easy for us to lose ourselves in the music. And a great thing that we're seeing happening is more of that on a regular basis. On the nights where we feel like, you know, we have to kind of work to just rein in the focus, because people may not be there to see us, they may be there to see a headliner or not, you know, whatever, then it's a little more of, for me anyways, as you know, sort of a front man, I'm a little more engaged in that process, which keeps me a little bit from just fully losing myself in the music. But I think, you know, that's the goal, and it happens on a lot of nights and a lot of moments, and it's, you know, it's the best feeling when it happens.
I'm not gonna lie, I have Eminem's "Lose Yourself" in my head right now.
I don't know.
I just like, because "Lose Yourself" came up so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, Eminem.
Yeah.
I'm
He
thinking,
doesn't have, you're thinking of
I'm
Eminem.
thinking of the candy. I was like,
I'm
I don't
thinking of eating
understand.
M&Ms.
Yeah,
You guys are
M&Ms.
talking about music,
Why are you not
and I'm
sharing
like, give me the candy.
It's early for us.
So
It's past noon.
So you got a little political, like, not, you know, very subtle on the
Yeah.
last song. So I mean, can you think of, whether it's your songs or someone else's, like, is there a song title that sums up this entire election season that you can think of?
I mean, that's kind of why we went with Who's in Charge, the
Right.
name of the album,
Yeah.
because it is so poignant right now, and so many people are, if they're not using those exact words, they are questioning, or they're asking that question, like, who's in charge? Does my vote count? Who's, you know, pulling the strings? What's happening out there in the world now? And so that's why we named the album that. That's why it's the title track. It kind of was, you know, it had to be that.
And on a lot of levels, not just the political or the electoral cycle we're in right now, but also, you know, with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and the, you know, just overwhelmingly awful things that are, you know, spawning that movement, and the things that are going on with genocide in the world. You know, I mean, not to get super dark, but there's a lot of...
The world is a happy place. What do you think?
Yeah. There's a lot of dark stuff going on, and we wanted to try to, like, channel that into hopefully a constructive place where people could feel some sense of unity through the music, even though it's not a super specific political message that we have. We do want to try to put out into the world some sense of unification for all the people who are, for all of us little people, you know, all the people who aren't necessarily in charge, but you know, but maybe should be, because we're the masses.
No one is in charge. That's the whole
Chaos. Chaos
it's just,
theory.
It's just chaos.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaos.
It's sad but true.
Yeah.
At least I think so.
Yeah.
You know, Charles isn't in charge.
Right.
Scott Baio is definitely not in charge.
He's definitely lost control ever since Arrested Development.
Bob blah blah. Was that
He's too
his
busy with
character?
his law blog right now.
Yeah,
He's
really.
not in control anymore.
He's just lost it. Poor Scott Baio. But on the bright side, he gets tagged in this interview. So
He
does.
So he
He
remains
does.
relevant somehow.
All he ever
Which is
wanted was
awesome.
for the Get Right band to talk about it.
That's, yeah, I think he mentioned it in his speech a few weeks ago. months ago, whenever you were watching this. So, what's the next couple of weeks, months look like? Just more road work?
Yeah, I mean, we just put out the new album last week, so
You gotta truck it.
So yeah. We're touring all over, and just trying to get it out to people and selling them at CDs and meeting people and making connections and more of that. We're about to release a music video for that song "Who's in Charge" that we just played. So that's on the horizon, and just a bunch of things like that. Just hammering it out, keeping it going.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I have a 21-month-old son, which I'm still at the point where I'm saying months, which I think is so silly. I have a 1.5+ year old son. Any words of wisdom that you can share with him if, years from now when he's on YouTube and you guys have totally hit it big and he's just like, wow, these guys said I should stay in school and not smoke crack. Is there any
That's
words
a good
of
starting
yes.
place.
which, by the way, not bad advice.
Yeah.
Not bad advice. Great advice.
But is there any advice you want to pass along to him for the future?
I mean, we try to really focus on staying positive, and I think that's, I guess my advice would be positivity to a certain extent, to a large extent, is a choice, and to make that choice, because there's, it is kind of a scary world, and like the other song we sang, Motivation, it's easy to get bogged down with all the stuff going on inside, all the stuff going on in the world, to feel that heaviness, and one way to avoid that is apathy, right? Which a lot of people are doing, but has some real downsides, I think. And so the other way to do that is to choose positivity and to try to surround yourself with positive people and positive thoughts. And that might be heavy for a 1.5-year-old to process.
Well,
but that would be
he won't watch it now.
that would be my thought.
If I watched it now, if he watched it now,
Yeah.
it'd kind of be lost.
I can dangle some keys.
I was going to say, like, ooh. Well, great, guys. Thank you.
Thank
I mean,
you.
the music was
Sure.
great.
Thank
and we need another Woodstock. That's what I think we need.
Yeah.
We need, like, a piece. But I'm just bringing this up because yesterday was the anniversary. I'm just like, that would be nice to have, like, just something
Yeah.
where music actually... Because right now you have to really look for music that has meaning,
Right.
which is pretty sad. But in this state of where we're at, especially terrestrial radio, you have to, like, look for music with meaning.
Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my 2
Yeah.
cents.
Although, I mean, I want to agree with you, but it didn't go that well in '99.
Truth.
The
mud
Woodstock.
hippies.
Yeah.
Some would say it didn't go that well in '69.
That's true, but I think that I don't know. Yeah.
It would be
We'll be
music
part of
with
it.
meaning.
The
Yeah.
idea was
Music
I'll
with
do it.
meaning.
I'll be in the back with the triangle.
Yeah. No, I'm into it. We'll be there. We'll play.
Awesome. I have no affiliation with Woodstock.
No, we don't. We're not taking this
But
as
if
a,
you
as
got
a
it,
contract.
well, we will
I have
play.
I have zero pull with pretty much anything. But if you want to play classrooms, I'm your guy.
Here we go.